Peace and love and gratitude, everyone. Welcome back to Heal Talk with Renee. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have a very special guest, one of my friends and one of my favorite dancers. She's such a beautiful dancer. Chelsea, welcome to Heal Talk.
Yay! Thanks. I'm excited to be here. Thanks, Shanae, for having me.
Of course.
Yes, my name is Chelsea. I am a Brooklyn Net NBA dancer. I love dance. I love life. I love reading books. And yeah, I'm just excited to just open up about my healing journey and talk to Shanae and talk to you guys about my experience and journey just in general. Yeah.
Amazing queen. Chelsea has a beautiful story, an awesome journey, and we're so excited to share it with you guys. So thank you so much for coming on here and chatting it up with me, sis. Can you tell us, a little bit more about, yourself, your journey, and when did you kind of tap into your spiritual journey?
Okay. So a little bit more about myself. It's always so weird to kind of try and describe myself because I'm always like, oh, I dance. But I guess I would say I'm born and raised in Jamaica, Queens. So I've always been in New York. I've lived a couple of times like in California and Florida for like a year maybe. I enjoy reading books. I enjoy spending time with friends and family. And yeah, I'm just like excited to see where life takes me. Outside of that, I would say, I guess my spiritual journey started in 2011. I had just finished, I graduated high school and I went to like college. And I remember in high school, everyone has that like high school boyfriend and then they end up breaking up. And so I went into college, like just being like kind of like angry and like bitter. So I had, college just always like this partying. It's your first experience. You're away from your parents. You're living like in a dorm by yourself. There's like no rules. There's rules, but there's like no rules. You're free to come in and go as you please. So, no, I was just really partying a lot, drinking a lot, just like living, I guess, my YOLO life. Because, that was a word back then. YOLO was a word back then. People don't say it now, but it was. So I remember one time I went to a party and I got really, really, really drunk. We didn't even make it to, I didn't make it to the party. We were pre-gaming and I got really, really, really drunk. I fell down a flight of stairs. And I ended up getting alcohol poisoning. So I had to be rushed to the hospital. And mind you, my school at the time was in New Jersey. So I had to be rushed to the hospital, and they had to like call my parents to like, come and help me and make sure my parents knew what was going on. And my parents had to come from New York all the way to New Jersey. And then I know my parents are like, like they were like upset and everything, like, Chelsea, you're better than this. What are you doing? But from there, when I finally got back to my dorm room and I started to feel better, I kind of started to reevaluate just my headspace and where I was at, and then ask myself, is this what I really want for my life? Like, because this can go in a very bad direction. And this is literally only freshman, like maybe like the first 3 months of freshman year. So that was actually the first time that I had opened up the Bible on my own, like by myself, because usually people have the story of they were raised in like the church, or like parents forced them to go to church every Sunday. But this is the first time I actually sat down and opened the Bible and decided to like read it for myself. So I would say that's when my, I guess, spiritual journey started, because I decided that time to like actually start getting to know who God is for myself, rather than hearing other people talk about God. And just honestly, in general, I think it was more so coming from, at the time, wanting to just be better and wanting to like grow and be a better person, so I'm not in certain predicaments like the hospital having alcohol poisoning. So that's 2011 freshman year of college is when I would say, I guess, my spiritual like Christian journey started. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
In college too. I mean, that's not like crazy.
Yeah.
A crazy thought. But Because I feel like in colleges, that's where you're trying to find yourself. So it's not outlandish to also find God in that process. But I also know, like, being a college student, like, you find God, and then sometimes God is like, all right, well, sis, I'm looking for you. Hello, where you at?
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit more about, like, your process with that, like being able to discover your own spiritual journey in Christianity in college? Like, how were you able to upkeep that, and what were the challenges with that?
That's a good question. I'm like, okay. Let me see. I guess I kind of always have been the oddball out, or kind of always been doing my like own thing. Mm-hmm. So I just told like my friends, who I'm still friends with too, I was just explaining to them like, hey, this is how I feel, this is where I'm at, and I want to go and explore that and explore who God is, because I want to better myself. Because they always thought that like I was always like the disciplined person in general, like doing like whether it's like stretching before dance class, or like being like, no, I have a paper to write, so I probably should stay home. Like, they knew me already as this kind of like disciplined person. So me deciding to like follow like Christ, or like discover that, they were just like, okay, it's Chelsea just being Chelsea. Mm-hmm. So there was some freedom there, because usually sometimes you become Christian and then your friends are just like, bruh, like what is happening? So I did thankfully I had some like good friends, so they were just like, whatever, she's doing her. But also at the same time, I understood, I guess, that I wasn't about to change overnight. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't trying to like rush and become like this holy person in front of everyone, or like put on a front or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I still like, I went to parties. I stopped drinking because I was just, first of all, I was turned off from drinking from the experience. Mm-hmm. But I also decided to stop drinking. And I would just go to parties and just have like fun and just like dance. So I was still like going to parties and going out. It was just kind of like in moderation, and less. And I'm trying to think of were there any challenges? I mean, I guess the challenges is sometimes too wondering what other people think of you. Because, you hear those comments like, oh, here comes the holier than thou person. I'm like, no, I'm not. I could be crazy and wild, just like anybody else. I'm just right now deciding to discover who God is, and so he can lead me on the path that he has for my life, rather than me just trying to do everything on my own. So it wasn't anything too crazy, because it was just the beginning stages. And I was just getting to know what he was like. And it wasn't more so like, God like correcting me or pulling things out of me in that season. It was just more so like, hey, welcome. Like, let's get to like know me. These are what, these are other Christian people. These are, this is the Bible. Like, this is how you probably should try and read the Bible. Get to know the Bible for yourself. Like, start praying. Like, it was very baby steps and like basic stuff. So it wasn't like as intense or challenging as one may think it is, because you're in college, you want to do what everyone else is doing. But it wasn't that. I just felt like God was just like, okay, like, hey, here I am. Like, you're going to start to know me and explore me. So yeah.
No, I think that that's amazing. And what I kind of get from that is that you didn't put this like religious expectation on yourself, because I do believe like that's a big challenge. Yeah. When it comes to, at least in my opinion, when it comes to spirituality and religion, you have people who quote unquote religious, and it kind of seems like the opposite of really what a relationship with God is. Yeah. But you gave yourself grace, and you knew like, I'm exploring this, and it doesn't have to be this certain type of expectation. Yeah. I'm just gonna go with the flow and allow my own journey with God to happen. Yeah. Which I think is a beautiful thing, and such an intelligent thing to do, in college, like that young. Yeah. And kind of being that aware. So I think that's super dope that you were able to say that. Because I do believe like there is that challenge where how do I say, okay, I'm walking in Christ? And I think specifically, like as a Christian saying you're walking with Christ, being able to decipher between, okay, I'm going to do my walk with Christ, but I'm also going to embrace my human experience and human journey. And I think that that's really important.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And so with that, my next question, and I think this is really important because I feel like, again, you have such an important story to tell. So knowing that you went through that process in college and really kind of discovered your own relationship with God and kind of cultivating that, can you tell us a little bit about, fast forward pre-pandemic, can you tell us a little bit about events that has happened in your life that have probably kind of shook your world, and how did you use your relationship with God that you cultivated in college to get through that experience?
Okay. Yeah. So it's funny, I guess, like when you first get to like know God, or like when you hear things about like Christians or like that kind of like walk of life, like for me at least, I thought like everyone was like happy all the time. And I thought it was just like, oh, everything's gonna be great from here on. What I didn't know, and I don't think I actually really had anyone like tell me, is like, you're just like you're literally just like everyone else. You just have God to like help you through any crazy or like hard situation. And so with that being said, I thought once I became Christian, everything would just be like, yeah, all the time, yes, I'm happy, everything's walking, everything's perfect. So I did think that, but I quickly learned that actually no, that's not it. And sometimes life almost has to get worse before you actually get better, because God will reveal certain things or bring certain things out of you, so that he can bring you to where he actually wants you to be, and where you will actually be walking in purpose. So with that being said, an event that happened that like definitely changed my life and just had me like, it took me, I don't know, what is that saying? It takes you from like left field or whatever. I don't know. It took me by surprise. But my mom had kept a secret from me for years, and that was about my father. So the person who I thought was biologically my father, I found out on Mother's Day that a few years back, I can't really remember the date, maybe it's in my journal, I'll figure it out later. But a few years back, she told me that, hey, this person is not your father. And I thought that this person was my father for so long, and I thought that he just disappeared and didn't want to be in my life. But the reality was he actually found out that I wasn't his daughter when I was maybe like 7 or 8. And he basically was like, I'm not doing this, which I can't blame him for that. Mm-hmm. But when I found that out, I was like, why are you telling me this now? And because apparently he kind of came back into like the scene of my grandma. So my grandma and I, which is his mother, we definitely shared a very great connection, and he had disappeared. No one had heard from him. I don't really still fully know that story, but all I know is that I was still in connection with his family, although he was never around. So now he came back into the picture, and he's at my grandma's house, and like, it's Mother's Day, like, I love my grandma. I'm the type to like literally be at a party or like a day party in Brooklyn, and then start driving home and be like, oh my God, I'm driving past grandma's house. Like, let me go and visit her and bring her pizza, or I'll bring my girlfriends over, and my girlfriends and I would just sit and we used to talk to like my grandma. So my mom was aware that it was Mother's Day, and I'd be like, I'm going over there. And she had to tell me because she didn't want me to get to Brooklyn, go into that space, and then I see him and I'm just like, excuse me. And he lets me know that I'm not his daughter. So that was just like, I remember hearing that information, and like everything else kind of like blacked out. Like all I did was like, what? Like, I don't even know how to describe that feeling, because everything now I'm thinking that I knew was like a lie. Mm-hmm. And then also the person that's closest to me, that's supposed to protect me, I'm like, oh my God, you lied to me. And I didn't see it coming. Like, I just didn't see any of it coming. I don't even know how to explain it, but yes. So from there, I just remember not knowing how to deal with it. Even though I was still on this like walk with God, I just didn't know how to deal with it. And instead of dealing with it or trying to find sources or outlets or help, I was like, I need to get out this house. And I moved to California, LA. And I thought that trying to pursue a career in dance and distracting myself from that hurt would definitely be a good idea, but it definitely wasn't, because I learned that like whatever hurt, whatever trauma you have literally will manifest itself. Like, it always manifests itself. It may not happen at that moment, but it always comes back and manifests itself. So a lot in California, I had a lot of like triggers, and I'm like, why am I acting this way? Why am I responding this way? Why do I feel bipolar? Like, one day I'm happy, one day I'm sad. And you know, I allowed like certain people and certain relationships that I came in contact with were not doing well. They weren't flourishing. And I just wasn't flourishing as a dancer either. Like, I just couldn't book anything. And I actually decided to like quit dance in LA and become a personal trainer. But while reading books about personal training and health and eating right, there was this one specific book that was describing eating healthy, but it kind of like brought your mind, your body, and your soul into it. And I felt like I had like my mind, I felt like I had like, I guess my soul, my body, but like my mind wasn't right. It was one of either soul or mind. And I was just like, I understand that I need to fix my trauma and heal first before anything else could be able to flourish in my life. So that's when I actually came back to New York. And I started going to therapy by myself. And then I also went to therapy with my mom and I. We just kind of had to like really hash out some like hard things and really, 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 really do the work. But yeah, it was just a very interesting time. And it was something that I literally, it impacted my life. And with God was in it the whole time, but God's not going to do the work if you're not going to do the work. Right. And I wasn't willing to do the work. But once I started to be willing to do the work, he definitely provided me with a therapist. He provided me with like people in my life who could like speak life into me, or people who could, just like maybe have been through something similar, or could like share their story and like give me some guidance and like some love and support. So he was definitely there helping, but I think what he was trying to get me to see, and what other people as well, is that yes, he's there and he's the source, but you have to be willing to put in the work to see healing. And it sucks, because I was so pissed. I was like, I didn't do this to myself. What is wrong with you? Like, I didn't do this. But the thing is, I learned that even if you didn't inflict pain or trauma or whatever onto yourself, you still have to be accountable and be responsible and do the work so that you heal, and you're not passing it on for generations and generations to come. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, first and foremost, I just want to thank you for sharing that, because I already know what it's like when there's family dramas and kind of personal stories. And so I want to thank you for being willing to be open about that. And I'm sure that there's someone else who's gone through that who probably needs to know like they're not alone in that. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling
Right now?
Like, how do you feel really kind of releasing that and seeing that?
I feel fine. I feel fine because I've actually like took the time to like heal from it, rather than like, you know, in the past I used to be like, oh my God, my mom liked me. And like I was so bitter and angry about it, but I have allowed forgiveness to enter my heart, and I feel fine. Like I feel like great sharing this story because I can, like you said, I can help somebody else. And also I did actually meet my biological father. So that was also a cool thing as well. Like I met my biological father. I look like him. I was gonna say he literally looks like me, but I look like him. I know. I look like him, and I also have a little brother. And my little brother is really like fun. He's really cute. So yeah, we have some like good times. And I was raised as an only child, so it's also nice to like have a brother and also have someone there to like support or like help out, like if he has any like questions. And at least I don't get the time back that I had in the past, but I do get to enjoy these moments now. And also, I've always growing up in like Jamaica, Queens, there's a lot of like Caribbean, like Jamaicans, Haitians, like all that like culture. And I always just thought I was this like Black American. And I always had friends who were Jamaican. And I've always like, I was like fake, and I would call myself Jafakan, and just be like, Chelsea, shut up. Like, no one wants to hear you. And turns out my biological father is Jamaican.
Wow.
Full-blown Jamaican. So I am Jamaican, and shout out to the haters who did not appreciate me being Jamaican. And it turned out I was. And that was actually really funny, because I called when I spoke to him I called him for the first time over the phone before we met in person. And I was like, hey, we spoke a little bit, and then I hung up, and then I called him back, and I said, wait, I have one more question. I was like, what are you? Like, what's your nationality? Like, what are you? He was like, oh, I'm Jamaican. And I was like, oh my God, yes, okay. And I was like, bye. And then I called my best friend, and I was like, Shanice, guess what? And she was like, what, Chelsea? I said, I'm Jamaican. I don't have the accent. But I tried to like do the accent. I was like, I'm Jamaican. Da, 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 da. And she was like, oh, God. But yeah, no, it's good. So some good things come out of that. Like, yeah, what the enemy meant for evil, God will turn it to good. And that's a valid and a truthful statement. And I stand by that. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. You felt an affinity for culture, and turns out that is your culture.
Yeah.
Now now you're not Jafakan, because this one over here is Jafakan back then.
Let's hear something. I don't have the accent either, so.
No, but that's awesome, Chelsea. And it's so dope to see, you know, that you didn't allow that to break you, even though in the moment it was hard, and I'm sure that there were things that happened or transpired that you probably aren't like, you know, super proud of, especially between you and your mom. But I'm just so proud of you for not allowing that to break you. And you said something so important, that you tried to run from it, and God was like, nope, it's still gonna be there, sis. Like, you try to run, you try to go pursue your dream, which is something that is clearly a God-given gift, but God is not going to nurture that gift until you heal. And so what you try to run to and use as an outlet, yes, it's a healthy outlet, but it's not going to be healthy until you're fully healed, because especially as a dancer, as an artist, and as an artist, it's your time to be your most vulnerable, and it's your time to kind of let go and show that. And so instead of suppressing it, God wanted you to release it and heal it. And can we just give it up? Like, God is so good. Because that just, it's just a reminder of how worthy you are, you know, and how worthy we all are, and how much favor and grace that we have. And when you are able to recognize that and look inward and upward, how your life can completely change. And now with you, you're such a great place, like building a connection with your dad and even having a sibling. How old is your little brother?
So now he is 16.
Okay.
So he's like driving. I met him when he was 11 or 12.
Okay.
12, yeah. I think it was 12, yeah. So, oh yeah. Well, that gives the year to date. That's 4 years ago. If he's 12, it's 4 years. Am I doing it? I better be doing it.
Yes.
Okay. No, but yeah. So no, yeah. He's 16. Very funny kid. And yeah, it's good times. He's very active. He does track. He just started driving. So like, yeah, it's interesting because we're still all building that relationship. Because I just want to be able to like, you know, just be comfortable, completely comfortable. I feel like with my brother, it's a lot easier, but now with my dad, like, you know, that still takes some work because like that's a full-blown adult. Usually kids are just like whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, we're still getting to know each other and then also unpacking the story as well. But it's pretty fun. It's awesome.
That's awesome. So what does the healing process look like with you and your mom?
So my mom and we did therapy. So we started, I believe, in 2020. And then obviously the pandemic happened as well during that 2020. So we had that time as well to just exclude outside stuff and go to therapy. It wasn't in person anymore, but it was over Zoom, but it was still effective. So we pretty much went to therapy. We spoke about some like harsh things. You have to be like really honest, and also give each other grace. And I think what actually helped was my like pure honesty, because I'm sometimes honest, sometimes like too honest, but like my pure honesty, and also my mom opening up. I don't 100% know the generational curses and like what's, you know, been done in like the past, but I know in my family secrets, pretending like the elephant is not in the room was a thing. So being able to sit in therapy and have my mom talk and open up and talk about her past and even talk about that experience and why she chose the decision she chose, allowed me to have like compassion, and also to have grace for her, because I got to see like, oh, this is your thought process. This is why you made the decisions that you made. Not saying that they were the best decisions, but I see that this came from something else. You weren't doing it necessarily to hurt me. You weren't doing it to hurt me at all. You thought that this would be the better decision because your decision came out of like fear or like doubt or embarrassment, like these kind of things. And it just allowed me to see my mom as another human being. And as a person who's just as flawed as the next one. I think that's why we all need God, because we're all just flawed. And instead of seeing her as a parent who's supposed to do right, I'm just able to see her as a human being. And that was helpful. Yeah.
Wow, Chelsea. It's so powerful because for me, I have had a really strained relationship with my father, and that's a whole different conversation for another day, another episode. But I can just relate to what you're saying so much, because I know what it's like to be so upset with someone and so hurt by someone who you have all these expectations for, and you feel as though they are not living up to the expectations that in reality they set for you. And so then you don't see them, your parents, as humans sometimes. And I think that's a part of the generational curses, right? Is that your parents are up here and kids are down here. When in reality, okay, of course you've lived more life than me, and I know that your only intention is to protect me, but they're also going through their own demons as well. And I remember having a breakthrough moment with my father where I was so mad at him for so long, but then, you know, something happened where as I'm older, and it didn't happen until I actually been intentional about my healing, similar to what you're saying, until I was intentional about my healing and honestly intentional about being aligned with God and really opening my heart to God, is where I was able to find a different compassion and see him as a human who, like you said, is just as flawed. Like I think about the crazy shit I've done and that I've had shame for, and I didn't make the best decisions. And so I can only imagine what our parents had to endure, especially thinking about the generation before us. Think about the generation before them and what those expectations looked like. It's such a refreshing thing to hear someone else say that, like, listen, I had to realize, like, my mother isn't perfect, and although I didn't necessarily, you know, agree with her decision, and I was a bystander, innocent, you know, victim of it, or not, I want to say victim, but someone who was an innocent bystander of her decision. I understand now through healing and intentional healing that I'm able to give her grace, because she's not perfect, but I know she loves me, and her intention was never to hurt me, but she was going through her own thing. And so to be able to have that type of compassion for her, for your mother, has to be, you know, such, like, taking your relationship into a different level. And now probably being able to see that same in other people. And you'll be able to allow that grace for yourself. So thank you for sharing that, because I know it resonates with me, and I'm sure it'll resonate with a lot of our viewers, and hopefully even viewers who have not been able to heal parent relationships, because those are tough ones. They're tough ones to heal. And so I just want to thank you for that.
Of course.
And I don't know, I just love, because it's like amazing to see you on the other side. Like, you're still going through it, and you're still healing through it, but you're also like almost on the other side, and it's such a beautiful thing to witness. And I also see the joy you have when you're like, my little brother. And so you mentioned, you know, how it's a little bit easier to cultivate a relationship with your brother, going through your journey with your mom and your healing with your mom. Can you tap in a little bit about your journey with your dad, like your biological dad, and, you know, what that's looking like?
Okay. So I feel, at first it was just like weird. Not that he's not weird. It's just like, I don't know, like, you don't think about this, like, until, like, you're sitting, like, in front of the person who, like, helped create you. And so I literally remember when I first met him, I was, like, nervous. I've never been, like, I don't think that, like, nervous. I was, like, anxious, like, you know, when you're just, like, flustered and you're just like, oh my God. And I remember driving, we met at Red Lobster's in Long Island. And so, because I was like, I love Red Lobster, so I wanted to go to Red Lobster. That literally, I can do without the meal. I will eat a biscuit. It's bad. I love those biscuits. Look, I'm getting hungry.
I just tasted the biscuit.
Right. No, I remember going into Red Lobster and, like, walking in and seeing him, and I know he could tell that I was, like, nervous. I was, like, so nervous, but I just remember, like, sitting and being like him, listening to him talk, but at the same time not really, like, hearing it, because I was just like, wow, this person looks exactly exactly like me. This is weird. And I'm like, this whole time I thought I looked like my mom, but I don't. I literally have like your whole everything, like your eyes, your lips, the shape of your head. So I was just like sitting there like analyzing this, and then also at the same time thinking like, how is this about to become a relationship? Like, I don't even understand. So funny enough with him, I definitely needed God. And I'd be like, God, like, please help me. Nah, I don't know. I'll just say it, whatever. I always said, because I'm real when it comes to God. I'm like, God, please help me. Like, I want my relationship with my biological dad to be so good that like I feel comfortable farting in front of him. And I know that's like,
that's not weird.
No, I know, like, cause certain people, like you're like, I won't fart next to you, but like, I want to be able to like be like, and then be like, okay, Dad, sorry, cause that's how you fart, right? No. But,
is that the dancer fart?
Yeah, right. No, but I just had to like really like ask God about that and pray for that, and I had to understand that the best thing I could do is just literally just let go and like be myself. Stop being in your head and like thinking, because this is a person, and ironically the person is probably just as nervous as you are meeting like his like older like daughter. That like it has to be a lot for him for what he's going through. So I am just, when I'm around my dad, like I've gotten better at just like being myself and like having conversations and like asking him about like how his day is going, how's work, like things like that. And then also I started to share more like, intimate things about myself, so I could create that space and he feels comfortable sharing some stuff as well. So if like, at first I used to be afraid to be like, hey, like, yeah, I'm really having a bad day, I'm like struggling or whatever. Like, you don't really want to say that, right? Because you don't say that to someone you just met. But I'm also like, this is someone I just met, but this is also my biological father. So I just, as the years went by, I just kind of just started to be like, hey, like, oh my God, today sucks, such and such, whatever. Like, just, talk like I would talk to, like, if I knew him all my life, kind of. And that allows space for him to be like, give me advice, or, encourage me, or then also leave him room to say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. It's still all a work. It's still all a work in progress. It's really still all a work in progress. It's still, I guess, a developing story. And I want to get to the point where I'm actually able to ask him how he feels about all of this. Because I actually don't know that. I don't know his story. I don't know his frustration. I don't know if he, is angry with my mom. I do know he has once expressed like, dang, like I wish I would have like seen you grow up, because like he always loved kids. So he has expressed that, like he wish he would have seen me like grow up and stuff like that. But I want to like dive in deeper and be like, what is going through your head? Like, what went through your head when you found out that I existed? What are your frustrations? Like, are you angry? Like, these are things you're not expressing or you're not talking about. And I want to tap into that, because that's how you get into a better relationship, those hard like conversations, So yeah, but our relationship is developing. He's actually trying to plan a trip 2022 in the summer for us to go to Jamaica, because I have family in Jamaica now. So him, my brother and I, we'll be going to Jamaica in 2022. And that will be exciting. Yeah.
That's awesome. Have you ever been to Jamaica?
I've been when I was a kid, but I do not remember. I think I might remember one thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And at least now you're going knowing that that's part of your roots. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool in Jamaican.
Wow. Like, your emotional intelligence is like really on another level for me right now.
Oh, really?
Wow. But again, the healing and God is really radiating through you, and it's such a beautiful thing. To kind of switch gears a little bit, so for you, can you talk a little bit about, you know, your dance career? I know you gave us a little snippet saying that you went to California to try to pursue it, then you came back to New York. So tell us where you are with that, and how is it going through your healing and spiritual journey, and trying to pursue a dance career. You know, how does that work out for you? Like, how do they coexist?
Well, I will say this: if my like mind and like outside life is not together, it reflects in my dancing. I don't know why, but they like are together. They're like married.
It's like this energy.
Yeah. Just in general, I've always danced my entire life. My mom put me in dance. I've done like all types of training, like ballet, modern, jazz, hip hop, African dance, tap. And I really just always like loved it. It always was like an outlet for me. And I just kept training in it. I think my mom put me in dance when I was like 3 or 4. And I went to high school for dance. I went to Frankston Natural High School of the Arts. And then my college, I went to Rutgers for 1 year. And then I went to Fordham Alvin Ailey BFA. So I've always like been dancing. And I started to really get into the technical concert dance world during my like high school and college days. But after college, I started to go to like Broadway Dance Center, and I would take classes here and there, and then I would look in studio, I think it's called Studio 5, and I'd see like the hip hop classes and the heels classes, and I was like, I want to try that out. So I would like start exploring and everything, and I just found out that, okay, I have a lot of personality, and sometimes concert dance, I get told that I'm doing too much. So I was like, let me explore the commercial world. And I just started to put myself in that realm and started to like really get to know about all that stuff. And I just auditioned for any and everything. And I could not book anything. I really couldn't book anything, but really it's all in God's timing, because whenever you are elevated, like your traumas and your triggers and your responses to things will also be elevated as well. So even though I was annoyed that I could not book anything, and I'm like, God, I know I'm a talented dancer, like what the heck? Even though I was mad that I couldn't book anything, now looking back I understand, like, yeah, that's because you would have ruined it all. So Brooklyn Nets was actually, Brooklyn Nets was actually my first dance gig that I've ever booked.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my first gig, and it's technically, I guess it's commercial. This is technically a commercial job. So yeah, Brooklyn Nets was the first dance gig. But dancing, God, like I was saying, they go hand in hand. When my mind is not right, I just can't get out the right energy and portray it in my movement. And I feel like because I do believe my dancing is a gift from God, when I'm not right, he's just like, well, I'm not about to help you move in like this, like her, or help you move in that mindset. I can't help you be great. And I also had to learn too that dance is also a serving position, and you're serving and you are dancing for the people. And it's funny because God had to work on me with that, where it was just kind of like, I used to spend all the time just trying to dance for myself and make it about me. And I want to be the star, I want to be seen, or whatever. And he's like, no, you're dancing, and you dance, and the people that are watching you are enjoying you dance. But that doesn't come from a selfish place. That comes from just being like, I just want to give you like what I have. I want to like give you the joy that I have, like the joy that I get while I'm dancing. I want you to feel it. So I just feel like it all just like works together, and and I feel like now like God is like, okay, like taken out some things, you learn some lessons, and now like just dance and like just like have fun.
First of all, that line of dance is meant to serve others. It's such a powerful one. And I do agree with you. Like, I feel like when you take that walk, that spiritual walk, you start to realize that life is not about you.
Yeah.
And not in a way that means, because I do think that there's this like all or nothing type of mentality where when people say that, like, okay, I'm here to be used as a vessel to carry out God's gifts, message, whatever the case may be. So you have been blessed with a vessel who was blessed with this gift to share joy and entertain, you know, other people. But what it does for their soul to watch someone perform is, one, creating memories and bringing them happiness for that moment. And so it truly is a serving position. But I do feel like although it's to serve others, it's to serve you as well.
Yeah.
And I think that, can you talk a little bit about, I guess, that battle of trying to figure that out? Like how you mentioned, I used to think it was all about me. I wanted to be the star. I wanted to be seen. But how were you able to move between, okay, wanting dance to fulfill my soul, but also understanding and overstanding that this is really for me to also serve others?
So I guess I would answer that by saying it's something that gives me joy. Like whatever it is innate in me, like it's already there. So when I'm able to express myself that way, it like feeds my like soul. I feel like that's so cliche to say, but it really like, I like enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I get joy when I'm doing it. I'm happy when I'm dancing. So yes, I am serving other people by doing my gift or like practicing my gift or like just dancing in front of audiences. But at the same time, it's so like healing for me and like when I, when it sounds cliche, but like when I'm having a bad day or something like that, I do go and dance or take a dance class. And I know it's definitely like, it is for me because of the joy that I get while doing it and the fun that I have. I learned too that like, I'm also serving because I have the gift, I can dance. But really, I guess the serving part also comes from the spaces that dance gets me into. So whatever that gift or that talent, whatever space that I get into because of that, I'm able to, like, you'll be surprised, God will send somebody who's like literally like crying or bawling their eyes out, and I'll be like, hey, what's wrong? And I'll talk to them, or like I'll pray over them. Like that has happened. Or like I'll talk to people, or people be like, why are you like that? And then I have time to be like, hey, that's because of like God. And then also in that, people still see me like grow and see my transformation, and they're just like, yo, when did you become like this? And I'm just like, God. Like, so it's, and if they want me to elaborate, I elaborate more. Like I'm not like hiding anything or like afraid, and nor do I push my beliefs on anybody else, because I can't stand those people. Oh my God. But yeah, just see it as like, yeah, wherever I'm serving, and I'm also helping people, and along with that, I'm also helping myself as well, because you give blessings and blessings come back to you. So yeah.
So you said something in that that kind of resonated with me and reminded me, and it's so interesting how you talked about like, I don't have to basically essentially be extra and do all of that extra stuff and just allow God to use you. And it reminds me of how when you just allow God to not only put you in spaces to share your gift, you illuminate differently automatically, where you don't have to do anything extra. And because you illuminate differently, that's automatically going to open up access, allow access to different things, because that means you're needed in that space.
Yeah.
And it's such a powerful sentiment that you share, because your gift, like you mentioned, has allowed spaces for you to be in. And it's divine, right? Because knowing God, knowing that you're being worked on, it's like, all right, I see this space where there are a lot of other good people at, and you know what? They probably need some healing. So I'm gonna need Chelsea to be in this space. So let me open it up. Like how you were talking about, there could be someone crying, and I'll just go talk to them, and I share my story. But you were there because of your gift, and then it ultimately led to something else, and people being able to see you as a human, as a person that has a real story, and I think it's so powerful. So speaking of that, and you know, seeing how you are now in the industry, how do you feel like God is using you in the current space that you're in to basically share this message?
That's a good question. I'm like, okay. So I would say that one, I guess, like praying for people, like in the space, like also you, I don't know. Yeah, you probably know because I wrote it in the chat. Yeah. But I recently started like a prayer book. And like I said, I do not force my like beliefs on anybody. But I extended it in a group chat with all the fellow like Brooklynettes, and also the boss ladies, like, hey guys, I started a prayer book. Like if you guys need some prayer, anything, like I'm here to like pray for it. You can text me separately. It doesn't have to be detailed. I can always just be like, hey, God knows what you want. Like, God, this is your daughter. Like, you know, help her. But I'm offering like, you know, prayer, and anything that like I feel like the Holy Spirit like kind of like, if the Holy Spirit tells me to like come up to someone and like talk to someone or like share certain information, then I'm open to being used as a vessel. And then just in spaces in general, any other entertainment realm as well. Just being a light. I feel like that is necessary and needed, especially in these times. Like this is new COVID Corona time. So just being that light, because I feel like people need that, and it's refreshing. And also when you have someone who's like illuminating light, you also are reminded like, hey, maybe I can also be that positive person as well, because negativity can spread like wildfire. And I just wonder what would happen to the world, or any space that I'm in, if light could literally do the same exact thing. Because it's so easy to be negative. It's so easy. But it's hella hard to be positive and be a light and like shift your perspective. So I would just say also just like walking, just being, literally just being, and being that light. Doing the work outside of all of this, like, you know, spending my alone time with God, and then coming into these spaces and just being. And I think that is strangely enough effective, rather than be like, Jesus! Yeah. I hate that. Oh my God, I hate that. Yeah, because you can't force people to believe something that you believe. And then like, if God meets us where we're at, like, he's not going to expect you to try and meet someone higher or above than that. He's going to be like, no, you also, I'm going to allow you to meet them where they're at as well. So yeah, like I said, just being that light, and just being open to being used by God. But yeah, so yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I think two things from that. One, I think it's clear that you are being used. You're back in a space where probably wasn't the best prior, and now you're back in a just you yourself are in a different space, and like you said, just being open to allowing God to use you. And I think people underestimate the power of prayer, real prayer and intentional prayer, because there are so many times, and there are so many people, like, I know I'm guilty of it. I would say, oh yeah, I'm gonna pray for you in the past, and like I really won't pray for you. And so forgive me, but it almost became like just the natural response to say, but it's so inauthentic. But I've learned, like, when I say I'm going to pray for you, like, I'm doing it right then and there.
Yeah.
And for you to make an initiative, to take that initiative and write a book and take prayer requests, and then be intentional about your prayer, it completely changes people's lives. I've seen it myself, like, where people would ask for prayer, or even if they don't ask, but they're expressing something that is going on with them, and I'll say, you know, if it's okay, I would like to pray for you, or I will make sure to pray for you. And when I do it, I actually do it, I almost always get a follow-up about their situation.
Yeah.
I almost always get a follow-up about their situation, and it usually turns out what I prayed for. And having prayer warriors on your side, like when you sent that out, and I saw that, my heart just like smiled. And that's also why I was like, I have to talk to Chelsea. Like, she has to be on here because she's on a different wavelength. And you didn't just say it. You didn't just say one thing. Like, you sent a picture of the book. Like you said, like, if y'all need me, text me on the side. And I believe that. And obviously having conversations with you, I believe you. When we just prayed before this. And the power of prayer is so strong. And I used to think that you have to do all of these things to show people that you care and that you're listening, or whatever the case may be. And sometimes all you can do for someone is pray for them, and that could be the most powerful change in their life, more than anything that we think we could do. And so I'm so blessed to be in the space with you, and knowing that you are being used to be a light, as you mentioned. And then the other thing is, you talked about negativity and how that spreads so quickly. But I believe the same about positivity. I believe the same about, like, I think that they're both the same thing, where because it's energy, it's just a transfer of energy. And energy is so strong. Like, when I'm around someone who's super happy and positive, then I'm like, no choice. Okay, like, that just made my day, right? But when I'm around someone negative, it's the same thing. It's just a transfer of energy. So I would challenge the thought also that it's not hard to be positive. I think it's just as easy to be positive as it is to be negative. It's just, unfortunately, we live in a society that glorifies negativity and glorifies trauma and struggle, because that's the best way to operate, so that you can control people. But when you can't control someone who's truly liberated and truly happy, because that person is aligned with their source, that person is aligned with themselves. So you can't get them down, but you can easily control someone who is negative and traumatized and stressed, because you can manipulate their brains. Someone who is on a positive tip, you can't manipulate their brain at all. And so it really is a choice. Like, that's how I see it. I mean,
no, that's an interesting way. Definitely of thinking about it. Because actually, like, you're right when you say, like, I guess it feels maybe that negativity, like, spreads so much quicker is because the way society is, and like the news, all the negativity, and like, you know, everything's like set up in that way. So maybe it could feel like negativity is spreading. But if you are allowing positivity and giving those positive vibes, like, I'm guessing it can spread as fast. It just might be the environment, not the environment, the society that like we live in, or like the culture, more so like culture. So yeah,
I agree with you, and I think the environment as well that you're in, because the people control the environment. So every choice we each make contributes to that environment, and how it can affect you personally. And essentially how it can affect others. And I think it's similar to what you said with the serving of dance. Like, whenever we're put into a space, we're put there to serve each other. And so I don't disagree with the fact that negativity spreads fast. I mean, when you think about it, even from a social media perspective, you can have a million positive comments, but the one negative thing you'll choose to harp on and will choose to feel insecure about. Yeah. But that's when you're not aligned.
Yeah, you're right. Cause you're right. Cause if I like would see a negative comment, I was just like, oh, whatever. Like, you know, like I get it. Cause like I'm vibrating on a different like wavelength. I don't know. I call
Absolutely.
It wavelength. But
yeah, a different frequency.
Yeah.
Like we'll eventually get to a point where we don't give people power to dictate our frequency we choose to operate on and vibrate on. And you know, I feel like as soon as we hear something negative about ourselves, no matter how much positive things we hear about ourselves, we're always going to focus on that negative. But we have the choice to not. And then the positivity gets spread just as fast. But again, it just takes a healing. It's a process. And so, I mean, I think that you're on that journey and you're on that way, but like you mentioned earlier, it's really hard for us to change our perceptions of things. Yeah. Because we live in a trauma response-based society. Like we respond to that faster than positivity. Like I remember I used to be around people who were so positive, happy all the time. Like, why are you so happy? Like, it's early. Like, what you doing happy?
Why not?
And it's just like, why wouldn't I be happy? I woke up.
Right. Yeah, why not? That's crazy.
And I had to check myself, like, why the hell am I upset about someone being happy? Like,
yeah.
That's weird. But that should be weird, but that's unfortunately the norm, where freedom is not the norm. Freedom is allowed to people who can afford it, and even at that point they can't afford it. It's the price tag is too high for freedom, essentially. And I think when we understand, when we're truly liberated mentally and spiritually, then we'll be liberated in every other way. And
I agree with that.
We're gonna pray for that over the world, for ourselves, because this world is crazy. Yeah. But again, like I think that's awesome, exercising that. And with that, just kind of to dig a little bit deeper within that, how has that been working out? Do you feel like it's been something, whether it's in that specific space or any other spaces? You know, how do you feel like it's been helpful for yourself and the people that you've offered that to?
To like beat the light or like the prayer books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How do I think it's helped?
Yeah. Like how has it been going since you've taken the initiative and you've started to do that?
It's going. Like I've received some people who have sent some prayer requests, for sure. I'll share this one because this is not like that. It's not deep at all. But one of the Brooklynettes, when audition time was happening, her outfit that she really wanted to wear for auditions was in the mail, and it was like on its way. It didn't come or whatever, and she like asked me to pray for her. So I was just like, yeah, pray. And I was just like, Jesus, like, please, like, help it come, like, please. And that outfit literally came like seconds before she was about to like leave. And I was like, amen, yes. So she got to wear her outfit. Yeah. She looked really cute. And she is a Brooklynette again. Yes. No, so that is a cool experience to see. That helping someone, or like my prayer, even if that's that small, like my prayer, like actually providing like joy to somebody else. It's going as well. Like I feel like just my interactions with people feel so much more different and like open and like welcoming than they have in the past. And like, like I'm able to like provide compliments to other people, and like, people reciprocate the same energy, and then if it's not, they're complimenting other people next to you, and like it's just kind of creating, like, I feel like just in general like a better space. So I do believe like it's helping, and it's it's doing something. And I feel like further along, like as months continue to pass and I'm in these different spaces with the same like positive energy, positive vibes, I do feel like I'll be able to like see, I guess, even more results, or see, you know, like how much is actually helping, and maybe even have like some people like give testimonies and be like, yo, hey Chelsea, like, you know, this, when you did that, like that actually really, really, really helped me. That allowed me to just, you know, be free, or like walk in that freedom, or start exploring certain things, or explore my own journey, or explore who God is, because I see what you're doing and how you're helping. So yeah, to be continued. So yeah, to be continued.
No, that's amazing. And you see what I mean when I say like the intentionality behind prayer, and sometimes that's all you need to do for someone. Like, again, like the fact that, because we all know what that feels like when you order something and it don't come through.
Yeah, no, I know.
And because, you know, that person trusted you enough to pray for it. And you know what, nothing's too small. Nothing is too small, because again, this is also someone going into a space that they want to share their gift. And this is what they feel like is going to represent them, so that they can express themselves and feel good in what they're expressing themselves in. And God provided and came through and was like, listen, this is what I want. This is how I want you to present yourself. So I got you. And used you to push her forward. And maybe it was to use you to help her see God a little bit more. Because sometimes it feels like when we're doing it on our own, it seems like you don't hear me though. Like, you don't hear me. And so God used you as a vessel to show her, like, yo, I hear you, I'm here. I'm just gonna, I know that you'll hear me through her. And so I think that that's super powerful, and that's dope.
No, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'm excited to see like more like prayer requests come true, and you know, like that happened right away, but like obviously not everything. Some things really take time and take a process, but I'm definitely excited to like, you know, start hearing more people's praise reports, and see it manifest. So I'm excited for that.
That's amazing. So what's next for Chelsea on this journey?
I don't know. I feel like I should know. I really don't know.
That might be a hard question. You don't know what's next, but I guess,
I mean, still like healing, like, you know, like it's still like a healing journey. Like I wouldn't say I'm completely healed at all. There's still a healing journey. And understanding like that I still just gotta continue to put in the work. Like if I can't ever get like stagnant, even if everything in life seems to be like going great, I can't just be like, okay, because then I'll start backtracking. So I just feel like just keeping this momentum forward, and like the things that I have in place, and the things that I'm doing now, continuing to do it. But that's what I would say would be on the healing journey. As far as like just life in general, I also have I do not know. I just know that it's going to be like some great stuff. I feel like God has been like pouring into me like certain things and like creative ideas, and things where I'm just like, now, you know, I have no idea how to do that, but him being like, I don't care, like, do it. So like just a lot of like creative things, I feel like are what's next for me in like different realms outside of dance, like acting, film, TV, hosting, and just like creating stuff of like my own, and work to put out there. I feel like that, I guess, is next. But I don't know, I just feel like ultimately a fun, joyful, like happy, exciting life. I do feel like that I guess is what's next. I can't see that far because I really don't know. I just say I'm here for the ride. I'm here to enjoy the ride.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that, and I think that that's a perfect way to close this off. Can you tell us a quote that you live by or that you feel has gotten you through a lot of, your challenging times and even your good times?
Definitely start falling in love with the process / journey.
Yes.
Yeah, because we're always trying to rush to a destination. That is not how life works out, or at least that's what I've learned.
Yeah.
So yes, fall in love with the process / journey, because that will really be helpful.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And half the time we don't even know what the destination is, child.
Right.
Like
That part.
we think we know, but we don't. I love
don't.
that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And also because you know that we are all about bigging up and supporting our people and their creative businesses and creativity. We do have a creator / business of the episode. Chelsea, can you tell us the business?
Yes, the name, it's called Black, and it's spelled BLAQUE.
I know that.
No, and it is a gym. It's a gym in the making right now. It is an app that was created by my friend, but it is Black Fitness, and the app is geared towards helping Black people with health, with fitness, and like breaking down these like myths and beliefs that have been ingrained in our community and culture for so long. So she wants to provide that space, and she's also making it luxury, because she has worked as a personal trainer in a lot of luxury spaces, and what she saw was like the demographic was not, I think it had like less than 9, like these gyms were placed in neighborhoods that were like less than 9% Black, and she's like, she doesn't think it's right that only a certain amount of people have access to like optimal health and like luxury care, and she wants to place that she wants to provide her people with those same luxuries and that same optimal health, especially now in the times that we're living in. And she does believe like that is her mission, and she like stands by it. So yes, it is a fitness app. Currently you can type in blackfitness.com, I believe, and she has a fitness app, and it will be becoming a gym very soon, so it's in the making. But yeah, support.
Yes, Black. We love a colorful gym. Thank you so much, Chelsea. Oh my God.
I done hit the mic. They're gonna hear all of this.
They forgive us. They understand. But thank you so much for sharing your story, your testimony, for being willing to be so open with your journey and some very personal information. I can only imagine how difficult that was in the beginning, but to see you kind of on the other side and really being intentional about your healing and embracing the beautiful things that is coming from this is so amazing. And I know that it is going to help someone who might be struggling on their journey or who is on the same journey as you. So thank you for sharing your story. You are important, you are worthy, and you're supposed to be here and again continue to serve others and be used as a vessel. So with that, we're going to close out this episode with a prayer.
Wait, before you do that, also I want to thank Shanae for creating this outlet and allowing other people to heal from it. So thank you for creating this, because you are definitely important, and you're very much appreciated for allowing people to come on and share this story and provide an outlet for other people to come and heal as well.
Thank you, Queen. I received that. I received that.
Yeah.
We're all in this together. We are all here
to
serve each other. We're all in this together.
I know, that's in my head.
Right. All right, so let's just go ahead and close it out in prayer. Do you want to do the honors or would you like for me to do it? All right. Let's go ahead and bow our head.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to hold hands?
Yes.
Okay. Lord, first and foremost, thank you so much for this space. Thank you for bringing us all here together. You said where 1 and 2 is gathered in your name, you will be there also. So we thank you for your presence. Thank you for just continuing to love us, Lord, and illuminate us in a way that we could have never seen ourselves illuminated. Thank you for always seeing us. Thank you for your grace and mercy. And thank you for finding us so worthy to use us as vessels to serve others and to really promote and create a life of healing, a life of breaking curses, and a life of true fulfillment, liberation, and happiness. We thank you for freedom in our thoughts, freedom in our stories, and freedom from our trials and tribulations, and turning them into testimonies to help others. We love you, we appreciate you, and we thank you so much. And we pray that you will just continue to help us on our journey to help others and bring us all together so that we can just continue to serve you and express gratitude to you. We love you, we thank you, in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Yay.
Peace, love, and gratitude, tribe. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, peace. Bye. Peace and gratitude, tribe. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Heal Talk. If you like content like this, please be sure to like and comment below. And don't forget to subscribe. Also, make sure that you turn on that bell notification so that you'll never miss an alert when we drop a new episode. Thank you so much for your support. And until next time, peace.